All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Rod from Spanish Smash. I want to talk about something very important in order for you to smash your intermediate speaking plateau. And it's by identifying your weak areas. Dun, dun. Okay. When I say weak areas here, I don't mean like grammar or listening or speaking, like the four skills, for example, right? I mean weak topic areas. Okay. So here I mean topic. So what does that mean? That means like life topics, like for example, your personal history or your personal like personal stuff, right? Your history, your identity, your job, work, yeah, family and friends, describing family and friends, describing certain issues, those type of topics, right? Almost like middle school topics like history and stuff, but not as academic, yeah. So identify them. Before you identify your weak areas, though, what's important is that you identify your strong areas. So, strong areas, important to identify too. Because when you identify your strong areas, you know where you shouldn't be spending time. Yeah. For example, one of my strong areas is talking about food. Okay. When I am talking about food, I don't really lack vocabulary. I know not only do I know vegetable names, for example, but I know like the different vegetable names in different countries of Spanish speaking countries, for example, right? I can identify the differences. I know like cooking vocabulary, like things like picar, hervir, um, stuff like that, right? If you ask me about the different, even like the different parts of a chicken or different parts, the different animals and different dish names, different parts of a chicken, pechuga, pierna pernil, molleja, los huesos. I mean, huesos is bones, but you get the point. Stuff like I can talk about anything, right? And not only can I just like I'm making this list of vocab words essentially, but I can express and say recipes and stuff like that. Okay, so that's one of my strong areas. Another strong area is like talking about education because I'm a teacher. Surprise, right? So I can talk about like students and evaluation, assessment, language learning theory, pedagogy, stuff like that. Okay. Now that means if I'm having a conversation with somebody and we're just talking about food, I'm not improving much. Yeah. And that also means that if I'm having a conversation with somebody and we're talking about a weak area I have, like, I don't know, like suppose we talk about history. I'm okay at history, but I can't like explain like different events that I would be able to in English, right? Um, that means that I'm gonna be pretty quiet and I'm not gonna participate much because even though I can understand what they're saying, I myself can't produce the language, right? So when you think about strong areas and weak areas, strong areas are areas in which you can produce the language easily and talk about things easily. I don't mean just words or vocab or singular vocab words or even singular phrases. I mean you can talk about it. You can talk about it, right? And so think about that, right? Weak areas doesn't mean that you're lacking vocab passively. Like you can probably watch videos on a weak areas and understand everything. But when you have to actually talk about it and summarize things or describe things or uh, say things in detail, you can't. And that's a weak area, right? So again, my example was history. What else? I don't know. Oh, I can't really talk about cars in Spanish. Like las llantas. I know how to say like stuff like las llantas, ruedas. But like the different parts of a car, like if I have to take my car to the shop, I'm pretty lost, right? Um, I don't know. Those are kind of weird examples because I know it seems very like specific, but it's because I'm not really intermediate anymore. So if you're intermediate, your topic areas will be not as specific. Like one example when I was intermediate was actually daily routine, and I like using this example because it seems like daily routines are easy, to describe like, oh, I wake up and then I go to work and blah blah blah. But I mean, really describe it like, me despierto a las 7 y después me levanto de la cama y después tiendo la cama y antes de bañarme normalmente me gusta meditar porque la meditación es una manera de enfocarme antes de trabajar. Like actually like going through each detail, right? Uh, like me baño, me afeito. En la ducha me gusta afeitarme. That's kind of TMI, right? But actually, that's super important. You want to give TMI. TMI is important because TMI is a way for you to kind of flaunt your vocabulary, right? All right. So, how do you practice? Okay, so you identify your strong areas, you identify your weak areas, right? How do you practice? You record monologues. Describe your daily routine. Describe your morning routine. Describe your night routine. Describe your afternoon routine. Describe how you clean, right? Describe what you like to cook. Describe how to make your favorite dish, right? Um, and you record those monologues. You listen back, and you're gonna find something called gaps, right? Call these gaps. I like to call them expressive gaps. Specifically, they're gaps in your expression. Because I don't like it when people say I have a gap in my vocabulary. That's not good enough for me. Because what you understand it or you can't say like what does that actually mean, right? And then you start looking for words, singular words, and that's not helpful either. Like you're looking for how to say ideas, and then you say those ideas, right? So expressions, expressive gaps. All right. So once you find those gaps, you list them out, make a list. Here's your list. Then you look it up. That's a search. What do you call it? Search detective. I have a gap in English apparently. A magnifying glass, right? So you're searching for it. And after you search for it, you learn it. You put it in your brain. That's a brain of some sort. And then you speak again. All right. That's the speaking. And when you speak again, now that you have these new expressions, you can practice expressing it, right? And you won't get it 100%, but you'll get better. And that's cool. Right? So, yeah, make sure you subscribe if you like what you're learning. I'm going to make more videos more often about these type of topics to improve your speaking, specifically from intermediate to advanced. Also, give me a like, please, and share this stuff. Typical YouTube shout out stuff I'm doing. Yeah. Y hasta luego.